Ecuador is at war. These are the shocking words of Ecuador's president, Daniel Noboa. For years, Ecuador has been known for its calmness in South America, avoiding the chaos linked to drug cartels and gang turmoil. However, a recent turn of events shattered this peaceful reputation. In the heart of Guayaquil, gunmen took control of a local TV station, triggering a series of coordinated attacks. Over 30 car bombs exploded, causing chaos, and prison riots claimed at least 11 lives in just 1 week. So, what's currently happening in Ecuador, and how will the nation navigate through this sudden and severe crisis? In the next 7 minutes, we will break down the actual truth behind Ecuador's spiraling crisis. Let's begin. To really grasp what's happening now, let's go back to 2021. In February of 2021, a horrible incident went down in Litoral Penitentiary, the country's most dangerous prison. It was a bloodbath that took the lives of at least 79 people, setting off a chain of shocking events in Ecuador's prisons. Fast forward to September 2021, and we saw the worst prison massacre in the nation. A staggering 116 inmates lost their lives in a single prison, some of them even beheaded. The violence didn't stop there. A total of 18 prison clashes resulted in over 450 people dead. Gangs inside these prisons were basically at war with each other. Why? Well, it began with a gang leader's death in December 2020. This guy, Jorge Luis Zambrano, aka Rasguiña, passed away, and it turned into a power struggle among local gang groups. They were fighting for control of territory and the drug trade. Some of these gangs even had ties to big-shot Mexican cartels like Sinaloa and Jalisco New Generation. Now, the crazy part? This prison chaos spilled out onto the streets. Imagine kidnappings, murders, robberies, the whole shebang. Ecuador became a hotspot for violence, with over 7,600 murders in just 1 year. That's a huge jump from the 4,600 the year before. So, they got a new president, Daniel Noboa, who came into office on November 23, 2023. He promised to kick violence to the curb with his Phoenix Plan, but kept the details hush-hush. When things got out of hand, he declared a state of emergency and imposed a curfew, empowering the police and armed forces to enforce compliance. This restricts the right of citizens to move freely and assemble, allowing police entry into homes without a court order. But then, a TV station called TC Television got attacked, and that's changed everything. Now, Ecuador officially says they're in an armed conflict, and they've labelled some groups as terrorists. These groups include the Choneros, Lobos, Tiguerones, and Aguilas. The decree also authorizes the armed forces to conduct military operations to neutralize these identified groups while adhering to international humanitarian law. So, what sparked all this madness? It's like a domino effect. Gang fights for control inside prisons turned into a country-wide crime spree. Innocent lives were turned upside down, businesses shut down due to extortion, and the whole nation is on edge. The most recent surge in violence kicked off on January 7, 2024, when the police made a move at La Regional, a prison in Guayaquil. This is where a notorious gang leader, Adolfo Macias Villamar, also known as Fito, was being held. The plan was to transfer Fito to a supposedly safer place called La Roca within the same compound, a smaller prison with fewer inmates. But when the police entered Fito's cell, they found it empty. It turns out Fito had caught wind of the plan as early as Christmas and managed to escape before the transfer could happen. 2 prison guards are now facing charges for helping him make his getaway. News of Fito's escape set off riots in at least 6 jails across the country, with some prison guards being taken hostage. But why would a simple prison transfer lead to such violence? Well, in many of Ecuador's prisons, it's not the guards or the authorities who call the shots. The real bosses are the inmates themselves. They control the wings, renting out cells and running a whole underground market inside the prison walls, dealing in food, drinks, and drugs. Fito, the escapee, had quite the setup in La Regional, as revealed in a music video recorded by his daughter in September. His cell was spacious, adorned with bold murals. and even featured its own shower cubicle. Leading the powerful gang Los Choneros, Fito had a comfortable spot in the prison hierarchy. However, it's not just Los Choneros. Other prison gangs hold sway in different penitentiaries, creating a complex underworld within the prison system. In some prisons, individual wings are controlled by rival gangs, and the tension can be cut with a knife, sometimes only separated by barbed wire. The power balance among these gangs is delicate, and any shift or internal power struggle can quickly turn deadly in these confined and overcrowded spaces. This was evident in 2020 when the previous leader of Los Choneros, Jorge Luis Zambrano, was assassinated, leading to a split in the gang. Shockingly, later that year, in the same compound in Guayaquil from which Fito escaped, Litoral prison witnessed an even more devastating event. A gang fight claimed the lives of 123 prisoners, surpassing the horrors of the previous clashes. In a 2021 interview with Ecuadorian journalists, Anderson Boscan and Monica Velasquez for their series Paz o Plomo, Spanish for Peace or Lead, Fito, the gang leader who recently escaped, issued a warning. He stated that any attempts to move him or other gang leaders to La Roca would trigger a sudden death scenario, leading to riots across all prisons. Now, you might be thinking, why is Ecuador a hotspot for these gang activities? Nestled between Colombia and Peru, the world's two largest cocaine producers, Ecuador finds itself in a challenging position. The United Nations Global Report on Cocaine 2023 notes a record high in cocaine production. As Colombia's security forces, supported by the United States, have tried to crack down on cocaine trafficking, international gangs, including Mexican cartels and groups from the Balkans, have entered the scene. With its large ports on the Pacific coast and limited experience in dealing with crime gangs, Ecuador became an attractive transit country for these transnational crime groups. The country's strategic location has made it a hub for drug shipments headed to Europe and the United States, contributing to the complex and dangerous dynamics within its prison system. As a result, Ecuador, once considered an island of peace and tranquility, is now grappling with a surge in violence, prompting thousands of troops to be deployed for restoration efforts. Over the past 4 years, the country's murder rate has spiked, earning it the label of one of Latin America's most violent nations. Daily tabloids are filled with horrifying tales of beheadings, butchery, and bombs. The root cause of this violence is tied to the flourishing cocaine trade, attracting Mexican cartels and crime syndicates, including the Albanian mafia, to Ecuador. The Pacific coast port of Guayaquil has become a crucial point for exporting cocaine from neighboring Colombia and Peru, the world's top producers. This transatlantic trafficking route, especially to Antwerp, has made Ecuador a hotbed for drug-related activities. Last August, the crisis gained global attention with the assassination of presidential candidate Fernando Villavicencio, blamed on Los Lobos, one of the many organized crime groups vying for control of Ecuador's drug trade. The eventual election winner, Daniel Noboa, declared his government at war with such groups. Since then, over 22,000 troops have been mobilized to hunt and neutralize these gangs. Yet, despite these efforts, the daily bloodshed persists. Although Noboa's coalition, which includes various political groups, holds a majority in the National Assembly, some people in Ecuador are wondering why the president isn't taking stronger action against gangs. While the president has support from the legislature for his security plans, parties in the coalition are reluctant to back a proposal to increase the value-added tax. This tax hike would fund weapons, equipment for security forces, improvements to the prison system, and payments to regional governments. In response to these challenges, Noboa is planning to have a public vote later this year. This vote will focus on security issues and ask the public whether the government should lift the ban on sending Ecuadorians wanted abroad. The results of this vote could significantly impact how the country deals with the ongoing security crisis. With Ecuador's government facing a tough battle against drug cartels and limited resources, the narcos are growing richer, leaving a trail of bloodshed. President Noboa vows not to negotiate with terrorists, striving to bring peace to Ecuadorians. However, the challenges are immense. Ecuador is deeply affected by drug violence, especially as a key stop on the cocaine trade route. The murder rate quadrupled from 2018 to 2022, and a record 220 tons of drugs were seized last year. Since February 2021, prison clashes have claimed over 460 lives, marked by beheadings and burnings. The future of Ecuador looks uncertain. Despite the government's efforts, well-funded criminal networks pose a formidable challenge. As the nation grapples with its drug war, what lies ahead remains unclear, leaving Ecuadorians in a state of uneasy anticipation. So, what do you think? Will the government's efforts be enough to bring lasting peace to its people? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on this evolving situation.